How's it going, everybody? I hope you are having a wonderful day. So I was talking to a co-worker last night. We were talking about the rarest cars that we've ever owned. I figured it'd be a good time to tell you about my rarest car and see if you've ever heard of it. I would love to find it again. I've never seen one for sale other than the one that I had. So comment down below what was your rarest vehicle. Do you still have it? Did you get rid of it? Do you regret getting rid of it? For me, it was a 1991 Mitsubishi Galant GS-X. So it was the precursor to the VR-4, I believe. I think it was the precursor. They could have been made simultaneously. But for all intents and purposes, it was a VR-4, but naturally aspirated. So it still had the 4G63, just not turbocharged. And unfortunately, it was automatic. I don't know if they made any manuals or very many manual transmissions for it. Like I said, it's rare enough that you will not find too much information about it. After my coworker and I talked about it, I went on the DSM forums to just try and find any information at all, or see if there were any that were for sale, and I can't find anything. Most people have never heard of it, let alone seen one. But it was my very first car, actually. And as most 16-year-old drivers, 15-year-old drivers are, I beat the ever-living shit out of that car every single day. I never let the motor warm up. Floored it everywhere I went. Drove sideways everywhere that I could. Any gravel lot that I could find. Anytime it snowed. Anytime it rained. It was not uncommon for me to just have it going sideways. And that car never failed me, not once. I owned it for, I believe it was like 2 years, a little over 2 years. And I sold it. I bought a 1994 Mustang Cobra that I had for a while. And then I ended up selling the Mustang and buying the Galant back. And this is where the story ends with my Galant. I was on a back road that I used to know very well. And I hadn't driven it in a while. I was out to visit my dad. And I went sideways around a corner that I always used to go sideways around, except this time there was a massive pothole. And by massive, I mean massive. It completely screwed up the entire front end of my vehicle. Like, I was having to drive it like this and just shaking. It was terrible. So I ended up taking it to a suspension shop to try and get it fixed. And the mechanic that was working there was like, dude, there's so much damage to this vehicle, it's not worth putting any of the money into it. I recommend getting rid of it and getting a new vehicle. So kind of heartbroken, because it was, you know, my first car, and it was a really fun car. So I brought it back home, and my dad's neighbor at the time, I don't think he still is. Dad lives out in the middle of nowhere, so by neighbor it was up the road a little bit. He worked on vehicles quite a bit, so I ended up selling it to him for, I don't remember, this was 10 years ago. It was like scrap prices, if I remember correctly. Like really, really, really cheap. And he took it back to his home garage, and I think he put like $200 into it and drove it for a while. And I was so upset. So upset. And I mean, it being 10 years ago, I have no idea where it's at, if it's even still on the road. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, you know, crushed up in a junkyard somewhere. But I will try to find some pictures and post them up on this video. But it was a navy blue 1991 Mitsubishi Galant GS-X. It had American racing wheels on it. Really kind of ugly wheels, actually. But for the time, I think they were okay. There was a big scratch on the hood from where I tried to Bouduke it with a studded belt on. So stupid. Yeah, it was such a good car. I'd love to get it back, or another one just like it, and build it up. Maybe make it a stage rally vehicle. Put a cage on it. So, what was your rarest vehicle? My buddy and I were talking about like some old Dodge Darts, and people didn't know about the Plymouth Lasers. That was the Talons, the Lasers, and the old Eclipses were all kind of one and the same back in the old DSM days, prior to the Evos. So yeah, it's not my typical type of video, but figured it would make a decent video, maybe get some conversations going. If you know where the vehicle is, I would love to know its whereabouts, and I would love to try and buy it from that person, just for old time's sake. I was kind of known for that vehicle. But anyways, I will let you guys go. I'm sure you all are busy. So enjoy the rest of your day. Comment down below your rarest vehicle. If you still have it, do you miss it? I'd love to hear what it is. I'd love to hear some stories about it. So yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Peace.